Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.
Hi, I'm Cherry Johnson with Watauga County Arts Council, and there's so many wonderful things going on in the high country in the summertime. Arts Council's got quite a few on that list. We've got things like Summer Arts Camp and our workshops, and we've got our monthly second Saturday celebration of the arts. We've got gallery exhibits. We've got wonderful opportunities like upcoming is Wood You Believe It? If you don't know what that is, anything related to wood. And so it's kind of becomes a hectic pace sometimes, and so much happening. So our friend Jim Guzel here came up with a cool idea for a way to kind of take the pressure off and chill out on a wonderful summer afternoon. And we're going to start a tradition, I hope, at the Blue Ridge Art Space, because the Blue Ridge Art Space has this fantastic porch. We were very lucky that the building has this wonderful porch. And it has on the front of the porch these funky little people, little blue people, that kind of made the dark blue-greenish paint start to take on a blue tinge. So it looks like a blue porch.
It does.
Yeah. And so that gave you an idea.
It did. It did. Well, actually, you and the porch gave me an idea.
I did.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Well, you know, a few weeks ago, I was over at the Arts Center volunteering for the first-year anniversary of the new building. Mm-hmm. And I showed up at the wrong meeting, but I guess I was in the right place.
That's how you got lassoed into that.
Yeah. And so, and you mentioned the idea that, you know, we need some people out there playing some music, making some noise, and drawing some attention like Saturday afternoons. Uh-huh. And it just so happened that I was trying to find a place to gather up some musicians to just have a jam session that wasn't bluegrass. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, hey, and I looked at the porch. It's a beautiful space, very, very protected from the weather, and you know, nice and shady in the afternoon. Yep. And so I went to you, of course, and I said, hey, how about if we have something like a blues jam there every Saturday afternoon?
Yeah. So from 1:30 to 4:30,
correct,
starting on July the 5th, we're having an opportunity for musicians or appreciators or anything in between, I guess.
Vocalists, hand clappers, foot stompers, whatever.
Bring your chair, something to sit on, enjoy it, you know.
Right.
So they're going to have a chance to come in and kind of just chill out and enjoy the music and relax with the music in the afternoon. And then if you've got something you want to do that evening, we probably can have something for you to do that evening. But if we don't even, it gives you kind of a new, fresh energy, you know, to do that after listening to all that music all day. So,
right.
You know.
Well, it's, yeah, bear in mind that this is a participatory event.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
And for musicians, it is a participatory event. It's a stress reliever too, isn't it?
I would say so. I certainly, music relieves the stress for me many a time.
Yeah, a lot of musicians that, now you're kind of like a good example of a lot of the musicians I know where that your career is not music because you are a professional photographer.
That's correct, portrait photographer. Right.
And so, but your kind of avocation maybe is the music.
Right, yeah. Music has really always been part of my life somewhere. You know, dancing, singing, playing. I started to learn how to play guitar when I went to college, and to me, it's really a crucial part of my life. I find it to, like you said, it's just stress relief. It's just another way to express how I feel about life.
Now, I asked you a while ago to tell me what blues were.
Ah, yes. Not sure I have a definition. I should have went to Wikipedia before. I was actually thinking of doing that this morning, and I didn't.
We should have done
I should have. Yeah, hey, go to Wikipedia, look it up. At any rate, my interpretation, you know, blues comes from, you know, it's traditional music. It has African roots, but it's certainly a very American form of music. And you know, in its simplest form, it's easy to play. It doesn't require a lot of skill on an instrument. It can be played on almost anything. You know, I play guitar, but you know, whatever, harmonica, banjo, bass fiddle, you know, doesn't matter. And the lyrics are generally very simple, and it you know, it's similar to folk music in that a lot of the songs are kind of handed down, so people end up forgetting the lyrics and then they make up their own and this sort of thing, and it doesn't really matter. And you know, you can have a really great voice and do a lot of really cool things with blues, but then there's a lot of people who sang blues who really had maybe not the best voice in the world. Janis Joplin, very raspy, for example, and so you can enter in at any skill level. It's good for jamming, easy to play.
Now let's talk about jamming. The Arts Council for many years was the host of old time jams, which are a step beyond bluegrass, really, and those are fun. Those are great. The cool thing that I learned about jams is that a jam is kind of an anybody can do it event.
Yes.
If you are a very experienced musician, sure, of course you can jam. If you are a beginning musician, that's a great opportunity though, because you can sit next to somebody that maybe has more skill than you do, or new ideas, or just something different from what you do, and you can pick up ideas. You can play along when and how you're able. And if you don't feel like you can handle that, you hang out for a little bit and then you play some more, So there's a lot of flexibility in a jam.
Absolutely. It's a perfect place to come in as a beginner. This is, we're calling it the blues porch, but I'm sure that what ends up being played and sung there is going to be the product of whoever shows up.
Right.
And it's going to shift into the first cousins of the blues, be it gospel. I'm sure a little bluegrass will end up there, certainly some country western and some rock and roll.
Right.
But all of those things are easy to play. You don't need to know how to do much. And you're going to learn from the people who are there. Jams, by their very nature, for most people, are very non-critical.
And they're
very
open
supportive.
To everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
absolutely.
a neat thing about a jam is I've never seen in a jam people have, oh, you're not so good, or whatever kind of attitudes.
No.
It's really, really a very accepting attitude in a jam session.
Yeah.
And so I think it gives musicians who don't feel, maybe you're rusty, maybe you used to play a long time ago and you haven't done it in a while, gives you a great chance to kind of brush off those skills, and come back and sort of tune them up a little bit, play with them a little, and just start experiencing your music again.
Exactly. And like in any situation where artists get together, no matter what the art, you have the inspiration. By its nature, a jam is composed of musicians who want to interact with other musicians. If you want to be the superstar, then the jam session probably isn't where you're going to show up anyway. Because you don't get to be the lead guy all the time, just a little bit. And it does work well to do those things for the beginners, the people who are shaking off rust, or for that matter, people who are who have gotten good with what they do in this direction, because they're going to learn off other musicians anyway, because somebody's going to play a riff, or somebody's going to sing something in a way that goes, wow, how'd you do that? Or wow, that gives me an idea. That's the cooperative nature of art when you get together anyway. That's what I like about it.
Hanging out and playing together.
It is a lot of fun.
That's really what it's about.
It is a lot of fun, right, yeah.
And a 1:30 to 4:30 on a Saturday seems to me like an optimal time, because it doesn't commit your whole evening or anything like that. It's just and you can drop in and drop out.
Exactly. You don't have to be there the whole time. It certainly would be nice if everybody showed up around 1:30 the first time around, so I feel like I'm not out there alone, But
we're going to make you play no matter what.
No, I don't have a problem with that. I will do that then, yes, indeed. So.
And I would advise you, if you're going to do that, to not only bring your instrument, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring along a chair if you happen to have one. If you don't, we do have some chairs. We're not chair rich, and many of our chairs have arms. And if you're playing a guitar or something like that, you don't want an arm. And so there are limits in that regard. So if you've got something that you can bring to sit on to play, it'd be great to do that. If you're just wanting to come and listen, you can do that too. It's okay to come and just enjoy.
Please, yes, yeah. I mean, one of the benefits of doing this out in public is, many musicians want to, in some sense or another, be up on stage and get out of the basement and play in front of some other people. And so having an audience there is a nice thing, for sure.
You're talking about artists being together and the energy with artists, and I'm really fortunate when I work at the Blue Ridge Art Space. Inevitably, it seems like that one artist walks in the door and then another artist walks in the door, and they may not even know each other, and they may not even be the same discipline, and there's a common link.
Yes, absolutely.
They just connect. It's really great to watch that energy going back and forth between the varied artists of various kinds of disciplines and various kinds of interests and so forth. And artists tend to be a very open-armed group. I don't see much snobbery going on in the arts among the artists.
Well, you do see that, I think, from some people, but then they're the lone wolves, so you don't have them show up in the communal.
They don't come hang out with us.
No, they're not in the communal venues, and I think they miss out on something there, really. If we can take a little bit of a side trip, recently I started to put together an organization called Carolina Artist Salon.
Yes, that's true.
And
you were telling me about that.
Right. And I was a member of an artist salon up in Washington, D.C. for about 10 years, back when I started my photography career. And it was incredibly helpful to me in so many different ways, dealing with my fears, dealing with business, seeing what other people were doing, starting to learn how much the art's interconnected and how if I was stuck creatively somewhere in one art, I could go somewhere else, all these different things.
Now, for the benefit of people who don't know that term, what is an artist salon?
Well, it is artistically inclined people, and it doesn't mean that you have to consider yourself to be an artist. You may just be an appreciator or somebody who wish you were an artist, or well, you probably are, you just don't know it. That's one of the benefits. But people get together to exchange ideas and thoughts, and it'll be around the art. But the arts express so much. It expresses what we do in life, our goals for the world. So very often the salons branch out into a few other areas, and what it ends up getting talked about or done. But ultimately, it's about creative expression and furthering the goals of the members. And so that's the purpose of this salon. We now have a little chapter that started up down in Columbia, South Carolina, and has friends down here, mostly musically inclined people. Everybody I've met up in Boone almost has been a visual artist, and we're starting to get this together.
Both sides there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of musicians. I just haven't met them. I'm just saying. I keep running into the visual artists.
There's also
which
a
is
literature arm too, so we got a whole bunch of those.
Well, that's true. I have met some of those people. That's right. I have. Yeah. And
so the artists in the community could get together in a salon environment and just kind of hang out. Basically.
Exactly. And so anyway, it's on Facebook, Carolina Artist Salon. Check it out. But we're co-sponsoring this, and and as far as how we interact with organizations such as the Watauga County Arts Council, is that we're in support of any organization that furthers the arts and what we can do to help out in some form or another. And in this case, it's mutually beneficial.
And we also share another branch of that same mission, and that is not only furthering the arts, but furthering the artists.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a big part of it.
Yes.
The Arts Council is in the ending cycle of a Business of the Arts series that's been going on for a couple of months now. And it won't really end. It's just that we're doing a cycle, and then we'll do another cycle. But last night I was at a workshop that we were sponsoring that was sponsored also by the Economic Development Commission and Handmade in America, and it was about profitability. How to make money as an artist. How to survive as an artist.
Right. Charge something for your art. That's the first step.
And how much do you charge, and how do you figure out how much you should charge, and how do you earn a living doing that?
Yeah. I've got a story for you on that.
Okay.
Back when I was starting out as a photographer, I'm reading this, How to Open a Photography Studio, and the guy who wrote the book was sharing that he learned this from some other experienced photographer. How much do you charge? He got a chance to do something for somebody who he knew had some bucks, but he had the fears of asking. He said, what do I charge? And the other guy says, well, can you say $20,000? Well, I couldn't even, the guy couldn't even start to get that out of his mouth. Well, can you say 15? Can you say 10? Ultimately, it's what you can charge for your art is what you can ask for your art.
And what people will pay for it.
But if you don't ask,
true.
Not too many people are going to offer to pay you more.
That's absolutely true. You're right.
And I see a lot of people really undervalue their art.
That's been a chronic problem, is that artists do undervalue their art. And I think that also there has to be a certain amount of awareness in the patrons of the arts of the value of the art. You know what I mean? And that's also a big part of the puzzle,
It seems to be something that's missing in the United States that exists in the European tradition where art is very valued and the artist is valued seemingly more, and in a lot of other cultures from what I understand too.
We're
and
different.
Here it's a little different,
But I think that I've seen a big change. I've been with the Arts Council over 20 years, and just watching how this community has grown in its appreciation of the arts in general, and how that the arts have become such an integral. I mean, the arts were always there; they've always been part of humanity. But to see them come out into the forefront as much as they have in our community, and to become such an integral part of our financial structure as well as our cultural structure as well as everything else in our lives, you know, which says a lot for the area. And I know a lot of folks that move here because that is the trend in our community, and I feel really grateful to be part of a community that's so excited about the arts in general. And every kind, like you said, you hadn't run into many musicians yet. I don't know how you missed that. They're on every single place I go, there's musicians. You just haven't.
Yeah, it's probably my. Well, maybe I was trying to find somebody who wasn't playing bluegrass. That
now
might be. Not that I don't like bluegrass. I do. Don't get me wrong.
Well, actually, though, you know, that brings up something, is that we're partners with Appalachian State University in having the community music school doing lessons in our facility.
Oh yeah.
And so we have a lot of lessons going on through the building, and they're very multidisciplinary. I don't think we've got any old time lessons going, but we have. I hear down the hall, you know, there'll be classical, there'll be the Suzuki styles, there'll be the jazz styles, there'll be, you know, different kinds of styles of music are being trained within these lessons. So if you're interested in learning, get in touch with me if you'd like to, and I can connect you to the right people. The Arts Council, of course, is at 264-1789, or you can check our website, watauga-arts.org, and there are links. But it's a great place to kind of get started too. And those lessons, incidentally, are not, it's community music school, so it's not children's music school. It's everybody. I see students coming in there who are about yay tall, and then I see students coming in there that look to me like they must be somewhere in their 80s. And so, you know, that says a lot. Music speaks to everybody.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does.
The arts speak to everybody.
Yes.
And you're in both sides of it. You're in the visual and the music.
Well, you know, probably actually broader than that. but you know, part of that was realization of where do I practice art in my life, you know, and like I like to do dancing in different forms, and that's part of my life.
Gym.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, I always liked to dance, but then I got into some improvisational and meditative dance about 11 years ago. Right, Gabriel Roth's 5 Rhythms. Yeah.
We'll have to check this out.
Oh yeah, but it came to me out of the photography. It was a photography client who said, "Hey, can I dance in front of the camera?" I said, "Sure, why not?" And it was really something. And where'd you learn that? And whatever, it's a long story. But she introduced me to 5 Rhythms. I ended up promoting 5 Rhythms dances up in Washington D.C. for like 4 years.
I want to hear more about this.
It's
later.
pretty cool. There's actually there's a little teeny bit of that actually starting in Boone on Friday nights over at St. Mark's, as a matter of fact, at 7 o'clock. Yeah, but anyway, you know, that's part of my life. But I consider what I do in cooking and gardening is part of my art forms. You know, people don't necessarily think of it that way, but when you start to realize how important that is beyond, you know, yeah, I got my garden there and I want to eat good tomatoes, but I also kind of want it to look pretty and this and that and the other thing, you know. So it goes beyond just the
And just being able to do it without killing everything is an art form.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, sometimes more art than science, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you came up with this cool idea. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I am so much, myself.
And while you're there, of course, you can always come on in and wander in through the building. You can check out the gift shop, which is a terrific place, showcasing about 70 local artists at this time, although that number keeps growing, but somewhere around there. And then we also always have new exhibits. Right now we've got pedal pushers going on. That'll go on through the weekend of the first blues jam. And then beyond that, we'll have Would You Believe It and the Blue Ridge Fiber Guild and so many other things that are going on. It's just constantly energy and things changing at the Arts Council. And if you've been there once, you go back the next time and it all feels a little bit different because there's more stuff happening and more going on. It's just an exciting place to be.
Right. So. And if you'd like to find out what's going on with the Artist Salon, Facebook, Carolina Artists with an S at the end of it, Salon. And just like it, and then you'll get some information. If you're looking for me, you can probably find me through there. Be the easiest thing to remember. And yeah, let the artist in you shine.
It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Check our website, watauga-arts.org, for information about this and so much more.
Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.